Why are some people so wealthy and successful, and yet others seem to be stuck and live paycheck to paycheck? When you look into this and really dig deep, it really boils down to these actions that we will discuss today that separate the wealthy from those that are poor. I believe everybody can be wealthy and achieve financial freedom or retire early or whatever your goal is. Anybody can do it. So if you want to take total control of your life, make sure you're subscribed to this channel because they don't want you to know any of this. They want you working forever, and I want you to be completely free from this mess. So the first action that the wealthy take is they don't chase status. Now look, I know that social media has made it seem like all wealthy people flaunt their wealth and everything else. The reality is, I don't know a single wealthy person that flaunts any of their wealth out there on social media, and statistically, that's exactly how wealth works. They're not out there chasing status. They're not out there buying things for social media, buying the latest whatever. They just aren't doing that. They're not chasing status. As a matter of fact, in a previous video where I completely exposed the actual industry behind influencing and looking rich. That's right, people are, going into a studio and sitting in a fake private jet setting that looks very, very real and paying this company money to sip champagne and take fake private jet videos and photos when it's actually not theirs at all. Sure, you have that less than 1% of people that are celebrities and they kind of make their money by obviously being a celebrity and showing you this lifestyle or whatever the case is, but that does not represent the other 99% of wealthy people who don't chase status. They just don't care. And guess what? I don't count somebody wealthy who makes $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 a year, but they live in a country club and they live in a $5 million mansion and they drive all these fancy cars, because I know folks like that and they are dead broke. They are not wealthy because they chose to chase status, when instead, if they actually chose to invest their money and live modestly, at least somewhat modestly, it would be extremely wealthy, but they're not. They're one job loss away from losing it all. Number two, they take action. How many people do you know that say and have been saying they're going to start that business? They're going to get in shape. They're going to learn about that real estate thing over there or that stock thing over there. I hear it all the time from friends, family, other folks that I work with, other folks that I come across, but yet the vast majority of people do not take actual action towards it. And if they do actually take action, well, that makes them the 5% out of the 95% that don't take any action at all, but then they don't take enough action to actually see it to fruition to the other side. People that are wealthy consistently take action. If they decide they're going to start a business, it might not be the business that they started with. It may look completely different over here, but they're going to take action consistently every single day in order to get to that other side and have a thriving business. Everybody knew there was opportunities galore in real estate after the real estate market crashed in 2008, 2009, 2010. But most people never took any actual action to become a real estate investor, which if they did, they would have an absolute fortune right now with very, very modest investments back then. If you want to be wealthy, you better get used to taking large, significant actions over and over and over again in order to achieve that wealth. Number three, they have a real understanding of time. Now, what do I mean by that exactly? I know that doesn't make a lot of sense because, of course, we all understand time to a degree. What I mean by that is the wealthy plan in terms of years, 5 years, decades in advance. That's how they view timelines. They view timelines on a very, very long horizon. And then they come back to, what do I need to do daily, monthly, weekly, in order to accomplish these bigger horizon timeline ventures that they have out there. Inevitably, the poor only worry about tomorrow, only worry about what they want today in some cases, and they'll worry about the future later, which of course leads to they never actually plan ahead. You don't have to be wealthy right now to understand this, but I know when I sit down with somebody who is not wealthy, but wants to be wealthy, if I sit down with them and I talk about goals, I talk about planning, I talk about timelines, and they have timelines that not only have, the weekly, monthly, daily type things that they're doing, but they have bigger things out there in terms of years, 5 years, a decade out there. I know that person is on their way to success because they understand time on the correct level in order to be wealthy. If you only worry about tomorrow, you're never going to plan ahead, which of course, failure to plan means you're probably going to fail. Number four, they have defined goals. I think this is best explained with just giving you guys a plain example. If your goal is to get rich, you're always going to be poor because it's not defined. There is nothing there. There's nothing to work towards. There's nothing to plan towards. It is a terrible, terrible goal to just say, I want to be rich. An example of a good goal is I would like to have $1 million on my portfolio over the next 10 years, and I'm going to put $1,000 into my stock brokerage account every single month and then invest that into great stocks consistently over the course of that 10-year horizon in order to meet that $1 million goal in 10 years in my portfolio. Or I would like to have $3,000 a month in passive income coming in from my real estate investments. So I'm going to buy a property every other year that spends off $500 after I've accounted for all expenses, all CapEx and everything else. Every year or every 2 years, I'm going to buy a property that cash flows exactly that or better. And in 12 years, I will have that $3,000 in passive income that I want. Those are clear, tangible, defined goals that you are much more likely to hit than, oh, I'm just going to get rich one day. I just want to be rich. Wealthy people always have defined, written out goals. Number 5, looking for investments versus stuff to buy. Look, I know this is where social media and YouTube skews a lot of these sort of things, but I can tell you right now, I spend 99.9% of my time, maybe even more than that, on investments, on ways to make more money, on ways to grow my different businesses, on new businesses that I can start. That right there is where all of my focus is. That's what I do. But friends, family, acquaintances that I know that don't have the level of wealth that I do, they almost inevitably only spend their free time thinking about, what can I buy? How do I get that? What's the latest gadget? Oh man, that Cybertruck's pretty cool. Man, I got to figure out how to get one of those. Their number one focus is on what they can spend money on. And inevitably, the wealthy's number one focus is on, how do I make more money? How do I grow my money? How do I invest my money? That doesn't mean they don't think about, hey, how do I buy that next Ferrari? Absolutely. But the vast majority of their time is spent figuring out how to build enough wealth, how to build enough investment, how to start a business that can then pay for that Ferrari. Heck, I know people out there that make $30,000 a year and they're never going to be able to buy a Ferrari, but yet they are like a Ferrari expert, which is great. There's nothing wrong with having a passion about a certain thing. But then if you wonder why you can't afford that Ferrari, well, it's because your focus is in the wrong place in the first place. And number 6, wealthy take calculated risk. Look, if you think you're going to become wealthy by taking on absolutely no risk, you're not. Just put your money in a savings account and just watch it lose out to inflation over time. That is not realistic. That is not how it happens. And to me, the riskiest thing you can do is to not take any risk at all. A lot of folks feel like they're eliminating risk by, hey, I'm just gonna do nothing. I'm just not gonna invest. I'm just gonna hang back here, save my money, and it's just all gonna work out for me. And I'm just gonna work hard and it's all gonna work out for me in the end. And that is the riskiest thing you can do. Now, I agree there's dumb risk and there's smart risk, but you need to figure out the difference between the two. And that really comes down to understanding the investment themselves. To me, when I invest in real estate, I'm taking on virtually no risk because I understand the asset. I've done the work. I put in all the pre-work. I've examined the properties. I've done all the analysis. I understand the market. I understand exactly what it's going to take to fix. I understand exactly what rents it can draw. I understand all those things intimately to where the more you understand, the more you can eliminate the risk out of that investment. I knew in 2022, buying Meta and under $100 was basically a risk-free investment because I understood the value that was there. I understood the financials. I understood the business opportunity there, more importantly, with the business itself, and I understood valuation, and that told me this is a once in a lifetime, once in a decade type of deal. It's stupid not to put my money there. The riskiest thing I could have done was not invest, despite all the fear, despite all the other garbage that was out there. That is how you take calculated risk. It is understanding the risk and then doing the appropriate things to mitigate that risk and then moving forward. The riskiest thing you can do is take on no risk at all. And the good news is this channel is all about alternative routes to financial freedom and retiring early. They want you working forever. I want you completely free from this mess. So make sure you're subscribed so that way you get this information because they don't want you to know it at all. So thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.